Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet here together with Infidel Noodle, right?
That's right. Or you can call me Aisha. It tends to annoy people a little bit more, but either is fine. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Yes. When I was saying right, I was just joking. Of course, I know that this is Infidel Noodle. I'm following her. You are following her. If you are following me, please follow her. If you're subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to her channel. Apparently, she's important because people who convert to Islam immediately start talking about her and about me. So that's a good thing, I guess. So what's up? How are you doing?
I am well, thank you. It's really cold and really early in Australia, so apologies if I am half awake during this conversation, but I will try my best.
It's all right. It's very late here, so we're kind of on, opposite ends of the same struggle. I kind of noticed that things were a little bit slow earlier. I hope I don't have any technical issues, but everything seems to be okay right now. So we want to talk today about a certain Muslim convert by the name of Paul, who calls himself Muslim Omar or something like that, right? Recently.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, which is an interesting development. He initially came out as a cactus boy on TikTok, was making videos defending Islam and talking nicely about Islam, and then during the process he converted to Islam. Then he left Islam, making a video in which he said that it is bad and that Muslims are terrible and all that. And then something happened after a while. He converted back to Islam and became extremely hateful toward all of us. Did I get that right so far?
Yeah, can I fill in a couple of little details? So when
Yes.
he started off on TikTok, he was a self-declared agnostic who used to make fun of Christians, and that's what gained him a lot of popularity with the Muslim audience. And
Oh,
yes, and then he started to make fun of Islam a little bit and realized that his followers were not very impressed with that, and that's what led him down to the path
are you
of
serious?
yes,
That
that's
explains
when he
everything. I didn't
yes, it
know that.
does.
I
And
wasn't
that's
aware of
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's an interesting little backstory that he's got going on. But that's when his popularity really kicked off. He kind of figured out exactly what he needed to do to grow his platform, and he went for it.
That is funny. I really had no idea. Honestly, I had no idea who this guy is initially. I checked TikTok at some point. I started posting garbage stuff on there and started getting recommendations. And then I noticed his videos, one or two of them, and I listened to them and I thought these are the terrible arguments which 16-year-old cultural Muslims make because they feel better about themselves when they try to defend Islam with some little knowledge. That's how I thought. And I thought, whatever, go away. And then people told me he left Islam, and that's all I knew at that point. I made a video.
Did AP
In response,
freeze
and then
for
he started
anyone
following me on
else?
Twitter and some interactions with you.
Okay, you
I think you
froze for a
froze. Something
second.
is happening here.
Oh,
I think you froze. Don't accuse me of freezing.
hey, I have
You
NBN. It's definitely you.
It's probably you. And then he contacted you and he followed me. And today he converted back to Islam and he says that we are obsessed with him and stuff like that. Oh no, people are saying it's me. I hope I don't have a technical issue here. What the hell is going
Yeah,
on?
no, it's definitely you. You are the problem.
I apologize for the offense that I caused. Yeah.
Can I fill in another detail in
Sure, go
our
ahead.
cactus timeline? Yeah. So back when he was kind of on his peak of growing his following on TikTok, he started making videos about me, which he claimed to be debunking me. It was, again, like you described it, your typical kind of 16-year-old, 12-year-old arguments. And I very politely made a video saying, look, I'm not interested in this TikTok back and forth. Why don't you just have a live debate with me, one-on-one? Just a live debate, you and me. If you know so much, I'm sure you'd be more than happy to do this. So I put that video out, and then he threatened to dox me because I asked him to debate me. He said, no, how about I dox you instead? I still have that video. Yeah, that's what happened. So that's just another key detail I think is very important to mention.
What a beautiful way of conducting yourself as a representative of Islam, right? As a new representative of Islam. Yeah, so one thing that I want everyone to know, including the Muslims and including his audience and everyone who's watching, is that we talked about this before. I specifically titled this Two Ex-Muslims versus One Muslim Convert. And I texted him an invitation to this live stream. And I said, hey, we are going to talk about you. So you are welcome to join the discussions. And so you can talk for yourself, so that we don't just talk about him, but he can join us right now here and we can have a discussion together about his conversion to Islam, his problems that he has with, non-Muslims and apostates and others. So the invitation went out to him. He has it. If he wants to become part of this discussion, if you instead of complaining later on, he can join right now whenever he wants. All he has to do is click the link or ask me, hey, how do I join this? He can reach me in 1 second if he wants to. Unfortunately, when I invited him, he took a screenshot of it and published it on his Twitter profile. And said and accused me of being obsessed with him, which is very funny because this is like my first ever reaction to him, and he made like over 30 posts and videos so far about me, and he's now claiming that I am obsessed with him and all that. It's very, very strange. Did I just freeze again?
No, I think you're fine.
Okay, good. All right, but now let's go through his conversion story video. Yeah, before I mess this up, what the hell is going on today? Okay. Okay, here, let's start. We'll watch this together. I'll put this here on the screen and then we will react live to this little boy. All right, let's see. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Fantastic.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, I figure this is an important video to make. I'm going to explain my revert story, but I'm going to describe what a disaster it really was. And this is this is because I had rushed myself too much and I had overflowed myself with too much information, and it led to a lot of issues. And I think this is going to be an important video for a lot of reverts too, or just Muslims in general, to slow yourself down a lot. Before we get into this, I'm just going to describe my past a little bit, and then we'll go right to the good stuff, the disaster. So,
don't you find it funny that he's like a relatively new convert, and then he's here like giving advice to everybody?
Yeah, look, I think it's a little bit ironic that he is trying to say that he rushed into it way too much, but is now going to make a YouTube channel and continue to talk about it. It seems a little self-contradictory, but anyway.
It is. Many people told him, like, he joined Islam for a very brief time, then left. When he left, many people said, because of him, they said, people who become reverts, who just join Islam, shouldn't immediately jump into making refutation videos. This is not good. And here he is again. He converted back to Islam. It's what the first thing he does is to sit down and make refutation videos and talk hatefully about people. It's very strange. But he has to save the poor Muslims. So
of course, who else will do it?
In my past, I was Christian when I was younger, way younger. And my whole family was Christian. I was born into it, and I would go to church all the time and go to all those classes. There would be like in the church, there would be like a small classroom or something that I would have that I could go in, and it was for the younger kids. And they would teach you about the Trinity and all these other things. And the one that really was just, it made absolutely no sense, and everybody knows this, is the Trinity. Trinity makes absolutely no sense. It's nonsense. And that's the best way I could describe it. It doesn't make any sense at all, and it's what led me to leaving Christianity. Nobody gives the same explanation ever for the Trinity. There's never one singular explanation to describe God.
That is very ironic.
That sounds very familiar.
That is very ironic. Wait a minute. Wait, where does this go?
It's God is 72 million different explanations, and none of them are the same. None of them have the same story. And this all.
Okay, this is very funny. He's talking about the Trinity. The Trinity is usually explained in several ways, or is described in several ways. And in order to understand the Trinity better, it is then made easier to understand with different examples for the Christian audience. He complains about this, and then he converts to Islam, becomes a traditionalist Muslim, and believes in the Islamic theology, which, as he apparently does not know, is very controversial within. Because if he now goes out as a Salafi or Wahhabi Muslim or whatever he wants to see himself, and goes around throughout the Muslim world and tells them how Allah is up there above his throne and has body parts and this and that, he will cause a huge disaster among the Muslim community, because people have no one way of describing the essence, the nature of Allah, where Allah is, how Allah interacts with you, how he comes down from the sky when you pray to him, and so on. It's all a huge mess, which is why Islamic scholars have canceled each other and insulted each other and fought each other for centuries over this stuff. Man.
No, Ridwan, what are you talking about? There's only one true Islam. Didn't anyone teach you this? It's the most clear, straightforward religion. There's only one Quran, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. No, all the other Muslims, they don't even exist. There's just one Islam, only the true one, only the true one. And this guy here will now bring us the truth. That's fantastic. All right.
Confused me. It confused me. It made me just disbelieve instantly. And so I left at like 6 or 7 years old. I was just like, I'm done with religion.
What? Wait.
What?
What? Wait, what? Did I miss something? Did he say 6, 7 years old?
Yeah.
And so I left at like 6 or 7 years old. I was just like, I'm done with religion. And I
I mean, you have to be an exceptional genius to ask these questions and to come to complex conclusions, to be like, oh no, this doesn't make any sense. Oh no, this doesn't make any sense. I am done with religion. Like,
No. Obviously, 6-year-olds are very mature, okay? Mature enough to get married, mature enough to leave Christianity. They are mature. Yeah. Don't you know this?
Oh yeah, of course. Now you can marry them. That's right. I'm very sorry for this grand mistake in my assessment of the situation, Aisha.
No, we forgive you.
Yeah. Thank you for correcting me on that. 6-year-old people are, of course, adults, and 9-year-old people can. I don't want to say it. But yeah, so he stopped believing in religion when he was 6 or 7 because he realized that this is just nonsense. And
Became atheist. And that lasted
look, even he laughed about that.
like 15 years until I was like 20 years old. And I started to become, I started to get a more religious mindset, I guess you could say. And I left this atheist mindset and I became agnostic. And I didn't believe in God, but I didn't disbelieve in God. I was kind of on this iffy scale. And at this time, around like 20 to 21, I had found TikTok. And I got on TikTok and I'm looking through, and randomly Islamic content starts coming up. And I start seeing Muslims describing hadith and refuting people, basically. And this led me to go, okay, this actually makes a lot of sense. I'm going to look into this myself.
Are you serious right now? He saw TikTok. He encountered Islam on TikTok and thought it makes a lot of sense. I am not the only person who says this. I've heard this from many other people who I don't want to name them right now. But when it comes to Muslim apologetics, I think everyone that I have heard an opinion from has the same opinion that TikTok is like the worst in terms of Muslim apologetics. The amount of garbage that is being said on there in the name of intellectual discourse and apologetics by Muslims is horrible. I see the stuff that you interact with. I went on there and attempted to interact with a few things, and I thought this is hell. Like I don't know. And that's where he became convinced. Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, you jump on YouTube and you see Ali Dawah and Muhammad Hijab and think, surely it can't get surely it can't get worse than this. And then you encounter Muslim apologetics on TikTok, and it's this whole new universe of total barbarity and absolute nonsense that doesn't make any sense. If he could give specific examples of exactly what it is he encountered that made him so convinced that Islam is true, then we could have a discourse about that. But from what I remember, I don't think he gives any explanation or a single reason whatsoever as to what was so convincing. So I find that very interesting.
Well, I made a series of reviewing Muslim converts on this channel, and everybody here knows that there is a certain pattern, which is that nobody ever gives a proper explanation as to why they became convinced that Islam is true. So I haven't seen a single one so far among all those conversion stories. Well, TikTok is a place where, I mean, I just went on recently and I wanted to check out what is going on there. And the most popular Muslim dawah recommendations that I'm getting are things like this guy who says, why do you believe in Islam? And then he shows a tree that is...
The tree?
A tree that is pointing toward the Kaaba, apparently. His major reason to believe in Islam is that there is a tree which is apparently bent and points toward the Kaaba. It looks like it's a praying person.
Or they'll be like, here's the reason I believe in Islam, and then it's a compilation of like different mountains and rivers and random bits of nature, and that's why they believe. That's what convinced them. They looked at a mountain.
Yeah. Look at these bent trees and big mountains. That's why Islam is true. Oh my God, I can't.
Because I've never had a religion do this to where I'm like, wow, that actually makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
So I started looking into Islam, and it led me down this rabbit hole of making content basically on TikTok, where I'm an agnostic person at that time, and I'm refuting all of these ex-Muslims and non-Muslims, and this went on for a long time.
I saw that. I actually want to later get into one video that he made about me in order to look through that, because he titled it something like Apostate Prophet Demolished or something like that. And I want to look at that. It will be very funny. But so you just told me a different story about him, about how everything went. He's now telling a different story. What's happening here?
Yeah, look, I think that's going to be kind of a common trend for him, that the way he explains the story and the experience doesn't quite align with what everyone witnessed unfold in reality, but that's okay. That's why we're here, to kind of help him jog his memory a little bit, right?
Yeah, that's good. We're actually doing something good today. That's good.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Okay.
I started overflowing myself. I started getting way too much information, and it was just way too much. And I needed to step back. And I had like 40,000 followers at the time, and that was a lot for me. I was like, this grew fast. So I stepped back and I stopped making content on Islam, and I started like doing comedy stuff. And this comedy stuff didn't last long. It was like for not even a month. But it annoyed a lot of Muslims because I was making content on Islam 1 second and then I switched and I just started making this random content that had nothing to do with it. That didn't last long though. And then I came back and started making content on Islam. But during that time, I actually had done a live stream, and I had done like a live video thing on TikTok and started talking to the community more and more. And they started knowing like me personally. And during one of the live streams, I had explained personal situation. I'm not going to go too deep into my personal situations with family and stuff, but
He likes to talk a lot about things that don't really matter. But yeah, of course. I mean, if you have a fan base that you build by talking nicely about Islam, and then you do something else and people don't really interact with it, then it's in your best interest to go back to Islam, right? So
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to build a community and a following and trying to find that self-validation, I think it makes sense to go back to the thing that you discovered was gaining your popularity in the first place, right?
absolutely, absolutely. And hey, dear Paul, if you're listening to this, I'm not trying to, mock you or insult you or anything here. I'm just making some mild remarks. And considering the language that you have used toward me in this video later on, and also outside of this, I think it's very understandable that I'm just reacting with a little bit of criticism here from my side.
Yeah, me too.
my father's sick, and I had explained that to them, like really sick. I had explained this to them, and they were all very helpful, very kind, sincere, beautiful. This community is incredible, and they were all, even me as an agnostic, they were jumping in and saying, "Listen, do you have like a GoFundMe or do you have like a PayPal or something that we could donate to you and help you take care of your father?" And it's a struggle because for me, I have to stay home. I had stopped going to college and I quit my job because I got a text, and my grandmother, who's helping me take care of my father, um, she needed me to come help her. So I got this text and I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to drop college. I'm going to drop all this stuff that I was doing, and I'm going to come back and take care of my father. And so doing that, I don't really have like this outside life. It's mostly inside. I'm mostly doing, this TikTok and all these other things because I need something to occupy me. Anyway,
Look, I'm on the verge of sympathizing with his struggle and all that. But here is the thing: like, if you want to give a background of your own story and your own struggles, and you want people to understand you and have some empathy, maybe don't do that by simultaneously going out and using terribly foul language toward others, saying extremely hateful things about others, slandering others, attacking me or Aisha constantly, or things like these. Maybe try to be a decent person, just like we have been toward you, Paul, throughout. And then maybe we can understand why you're going through.
Yeah, and I think like what I'm hearing is a very common situation that people who convert to religions like Islam are going through, right? They're going through this experience where they are isolated, they are disconnected from the outside world, they are vulnerable and they're lonely, and they're going through something very emotionally draining and challenging. And this isn't just unique to Islam, but broader religious communities will prey upon people when they see that vulnerability in you. They will love bomb, and they will give you that sense of validation and support that they know you are not currently getting from anywhere else. Not because not always because they genuinely care, right? But because they care about you seeing them in a positive light and having this inkling towards learning about their religion because they've shown you this kindness. And I just want to point out as well that when Paul came forth and said that he left the religion, the first thing Muslims were saying was stuff like, but what about when we helped you? What about when we did this for you? You know, I thought it was supposed to be about doing it out of the kindness of your heart, not coming forth and then saying, but we did this for you. Don't forget about this. So it's just very interesting what those intentions were at the time.
Yeah, I mean, he points out how it was very nice that Muslims, heard him out and came to his help and supported him when he needed it because he was sympathetic toward Muslims and was making pro-Islamic content. I mean, this has nothing to do with them being a good community. It is about you being a part of that community and doing something for that community, which is why they care about you. Otherwise, do they equally care about every other person whom they see on TikTok who has such struggles? No. Do people also set up GoFundMes for them?
AP's frozen again. Is he frozen for you guys? AP,
Wow.
you are super frozen. Okay, you're back now.
Oh my! Give me a second. I noticed what's going on. Keep talking.
Okay, well, while AP is excusing himself, Paul, I know that you are watching this video and listening to this discussion right now. So I want to remind you that when you were facing so much vitriol from the Muslim community after you left Islam, that there was a group of people who continued to show you kindness and reiterated and made it clear that we would continue to extend that kindness regardless of whether or not you converted back to Islam. Can you say the same thing about the Muslim community? Did their kindness extend after you left Islam in the way that ours would have when you went back to it? Something for you to think about.
Absolutely. Am I back now? Am I okay?
You're back now. You are okay. You're doing
Okay,
well.
so
You're
I
back.
noticed I was carrying my laptop around. I'm streaming from a laptop, and I noticed that my internet connection was not connected with a wire. I was actually on wireless, and that's of course a terrible option for me. I don't know why I did that, and it is still like that. I don't know when it will correct itself. But anyway, so that was the problem. It's still the problem. But yeah, so as we are saying, people will help their own community. It's not like Muslims go out and help everyone who is struggling. This is not something that's happening. And if that is a reason why you are drawn closer to to Islam, then that's just, you are just deceiving yourself, kind of, aren't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they all started.
Noon said Islam equals OnlyFans. I found that very funny, but
I mean, you can make a lot of money from it. It's true, right?
asking me to make this GoFundMe, make a PayPal. So I did because I wanted anything, any way possible that I could help my father after all the things he's done for me. I'm gonna do it in an instant. So I did. I made a PayPal and a GoFundMe instantly, and it was the most incredible thing ever. And it gave
exactly. That's exactly the point that we're making, right? That's exactly the point that we're making.
Is this what convinced him that Islam was true? That he was shown kindness by a community and felt loved and validated, and that equals Islam is true? Is that what he's saying here?
A community which he made content for, which he made videos for which he became popular. I mean, it's. I mean, this, to people who don't think any further, this kind of gives the impression that, Muslims are such a loving, helpful community, because he apparently experienced something like that. Is it really that way? I mean, if you think further, it is just a community supporting some guy who makes content for them. That's all it is, and that's not what should draw you toward Islam. That would be it looks like you have a big bias here that is very emotionally motivated. Yeah. What can you say?
me a sense of like, wow, this is a real community.
Is it though, Paul?
Is it though? Because when you came forth and shared your doubts, these are the exact same people who published your address online and threatened you. And I had to support you through how to contact the FBI to keep yourself safe. So maybe just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I want to show something quickly for everyone to see. This is you actually made the point and referred people to this tweet. But when he left Islam prior to this, a long time ago, he was met with severe reactions from Muslims, and his words about what kind of a community the Muslim community is were not very nice. I mean, just look at this.
So for anybody who's looking into Islam or looking into any other religions, just check the comment sections. If somebody disagrees, look at how great they are after. As soon as you disagree with them or make any comments about something being a little bit off or wrong, the whole community 180s. So just think about it. Before you join Islam or before you join any other religion, think. So if you're somebody that is looking into Islam or somebody that wants to convert or somebody that did just recently convert, think about it. Make sure you check these comment sections. Look at how lovely these people are and how they talk about the LGBT community and how they talk about other people, especially people who are not in a religion anymore. I really wish I realized this sooner. Now, it's not every Muslim that's like that. There are some that don't care if you leave or stay or if you talk about it or don't. They just mind their own business. But then there are some that if you read my comments, you will see what they say and how they really feel as soon as you disagree. This is my video. I hope it pisses you off.
Isn't it so damn ironic? I mean, he made this video, like, when was this? Like a year ago or so? Or
something like that. Sometime last year, I think.
And when look, first he converts to Islam because he finds some support, some help within this community. He feels lonely, and then he converts to Islam. Apparently it makes sense. Then he finds out more about Islam and notices some very messed up things, like the death penalty for for homosexuality or for apostasy, Muhammad's marriage to a little child, and so on. He's disgusted by this and expresses this. For expressing this, the Muslims attack him severely and insult him and tell him all kinds of terrible things. He comes out here and says, look, this is how the Muslims are. This is how the community is. They treat you like this, like garbage, so this is my video. Deal with it. I hope it pisses you off. And today he sits down and makes a video and talks about how great the Muslim community is and how supportive they are. I mean,
I think I should point out as well that Paul, when he first started his channel, he made it very clear that he is bisexual. He doesn't talk about that anymore.
really?
Because he didn't receive very positive or kind feedback from his beautiful community when he came forth with that. So I think for Paul, it's kind of like he's playing the oppression Olympics, right? I'm this white guy born and raised in a gated community in America to a rich family, but I'm lonely and I want to be part of something. I want to feel this sense of belonging and feel supported. So I will become a Muslim in this loving community who gave me money. And then it was kind of like, I want to try on another oppressed group for size and see what it's like. Let me leave Islam. And then he sort of realizes, within days, he's got ex-Muslim in his Twitter bio. He's kind of really trying to embrace the label or whatever you want to call it. But then he realizes this isn't the nice kind of oppression that I was feeling before. No one's giving me money. They're just threatening me. This is like real oppression.
Yeah.
I don't like this. I'm going to go back to my nice oppressed state that I was in before.
Yeah, and I'm sure he can inform the Muslims. I mean, he has experienced all of it firsthand. He became an ex-Muslim and tried using that ex-Muslim label, and what happened? He didn't become famous. He didn't get lots of money and support. No, he suddenly lost all the support that he had before. He
was
felt
banned
bad,
from
left alone.
TikTok. His account got banned from TikTok because he was mass reported. It was not the reaction he was expecting. Yet now he will sit there and say that we are doing this for views and money.
Maybe go out, Paul, and tell people what you experienced when you were an ex-Muslim, which you immediately used in your bio. Tell people how it really was. Maybe that will enlighten them. Man,
People are here to help. They're here to comfort me in times when I'm struggling. And from there, I felt really comfortable. That's the best way I could put it. I felt really comfortable. And so one night I'm going to sleep and I'm just about to really pass out. And I have like this dream or sound. I heard something and it sounded like it just said, get up, convert. Like, get up. What are you doing? Just go. Do what you need to do. So I did. I got up instantly and I was like, the only people who know about this, the only people who know that I'm talking about Islam are the people on TikTok. And so I was like, I'm gonna convert and I'm gonna record it and then I'm gonna let them see and this is my community, so I'm gonna show them. So I did.
Okay, so what he became convinced by eventually is, let's see, some TikTok videos, the help that he received from the Muslim community after he published videos for Muslims, and thirdly, something that he heard when he fell asleep.
A hallucination? That sounds like a hallucination
Yeah,
to me.
years back when I was living in Turkey, I was living a very reckless life. I would say I wasn't getting enough sleep. I wasn't doing anything healthy, and I would sometimes go to sleep in the mornings and fall asleep and have these sleep paralysis, and I would have like very strange dreams in the morning, thinking I'm awake and people are walking around and telling me things while I'm actually asleep, and then waking up again inside my dream and again and so on. So things happen when you go to sleep because your brain tries to rewire stuff. And
yeah, it does exactly. Sleep hygiene and a good sleep schedule is a massive part of maintaining your mental health. And I just want to point out that when Paul left Islam and was messaging me every day, we're on opposite time schedules. I'm in Australia, he's in America, so it would be daytime for me and the middle of the night for him. And for hours every day he would be messaging me, and it got to the point where I said, you're not getting enough sleep. This is unhealthy and dangerous, and you're spending all night on the internet, on TikTok, on Twitter. You need to get your sleep in check because this is dangerous, and it's not going to be good for your mental health. So I don't doubt that he was struggling with these sleep issues before he left Islam as well. I think he actually goes on to talk about that anyway.
Oh, okay.
I like made the video and I converted, and from there the amount of love and support from the community was beautiful. And this happened for months. I had like all this love and support and all this, and I'm refuting videos and I'm still doing this and still doing that, and I don't realize that I am just overwhelming myself, and I don't feel it at the time. I don't feel that I'm overwhelming myself. I feel like this calm, like presence, this calm. It's like my burden has been lifted, right? Like I said, it didn't last long. It was like 3 months, and then like 3.5 months in, I was just like, I had major doubts because I was getting overflowed with people sending me hadith, Muslims sending me hadith. I'm a new revert, right? I don't know that much information.
He wants to appear humble and be humble, but this is typical humble bragging, where he's really depicting himself as a major hero who's going through, who's doing everything perfectly whenever he does it, but he's also really suffering while doing it. He's the Messiah in his own mind.
Looking into this stuff as they send it to me. So I'm learning all of this and I'm looking into it, and I don't have the knowledge. Like now I can look up a hadith and look up the answer and look up the explanations for hadith and look up tafsir and all this instantly. I know where to go. I know how to do it. But back then I didn't know how to do any of this. So I was kind of struggling. I was like, this hadith says this. What about the other ones? How do I handle this? This doesn't make any sense. This is ridiculous if this is what he really said. And, like these are the thoughts that I'm having in my head. And this was going on and going on and going on. And I just finally one day I made a video, which at the time, I didn't know the massive impact this was really going to have on and how mad the community was going to be.
Is that funny? I mean, seriously, Paul, is that funny to you? Is it funny that you gave some slight criticism, had a reaction to certain things that you just found out because you converted to Islam without knowing anything about Islam, pretty much, and then people had some severe reactions to you and were massively angry, and you received threats and all kinds of disgusting stuff? Is that funny? Is that like, oh, I didn't know the community is like this? Sorry, guys. Aisha, what do you think?
Well, this is exactly what ex-Muslims like you and me are experiencing every single day. He gets this little taste of it and is reflecting back on that now like it's hilarious. And
Oh,
it's
remember
this,
those days when I used to
oh,
get death threats?
remember when you used to threaten to harm my physical safety? Oh, that's so hilarious. And now he's that person. He is that person sitting behind the keyboard harassing ex-Muslims. There's just this complete disconnect. He does not realize how much he contradicts himself when he is saying stuff like this.
Yeah. And today he actively advocates for apostasy laws. He describes LGBTQ people for whom he defended when he left Islam. That's why he left Islam, apparently. He describes them nowadays as mentally ill and things like that. It's like, I don't know.
But I'm leaving the past in the past. I had left and made a public video, and it was just like, I'm done. Like, I can't do this. And I made the video, and it caused a lot of stir. And for the worst, I had depression because of how bad the response was to me, like, leaving. It was so strong that I've never had this response towards me ever in my life, and I was just in depressive mode.
Are you serious right now? I mean, I can hardly contain my reaction to. I don't think I'm the only person who thinks this is highly freaking disturbing. I mean, I look at this guy's face while he's talking about how he was being horribly mistreated by Muslims because of his questioning and criticism of Islam back in the day. He was horribly mistreated, and he's putting his head down in shame and humility before this community and laughs it off. And I don't know. This is it's disturbing. I don't know how else to express it.
It's sick and sad that it's like he doesn't understand the gravity of what he is actually saying right now. I mean, he's sitting there giggling alone in this dark bedroom like, oh, remember that time you completely destroyed my mental health? Oh, good times. Yeah, that was funny. Like, what are you saying right now, dude?
Remember, guys, my dear Muslim community, when you made me feel so horrible that I was completely depressed and wanted to give up on life because I asked questions and told you my opinion. Oh, I didn't know you guys would be so angry with me. Oh my God.
It was every day for like a few months. I was just depressed. I didn't want to get out of bed, basically. But it's not their fault. It's really, I think it was just everything all together. Like, the community is so nice. The community is beautiful, but there are some people that don't know.
You've got to be kidding me, man.
What? Wow. The community's so nice. The community's so beautiful. They brutalized my mental health and threatened me for months because I dared to question their religion and voice my doubts about it.
It's not their fault, though. They're beautiful.
Oh yeah, no. It's whose fault is it? I'm just curious. If it's not their fault, Paul, whose fault was it that they were threatening and harassing you and threatening you day in, day out? The shaitan, I'm guessing you're going to say?
I was listening to this like fleetingly. I didn't get most of what he said. As I'm listening right now, I'm really realizing how messed up this is. I don't know. This is
understand that reverts are reverts, and they don't know everything. And it was just an overwhelming thing. And I was online, And all this mixed together, bam, left. And subhanAllah, I had said a lot of bad things as this non-Muslim when I had left. I had said a lot of bad things that I regret and I don't want to think about because it upsets me and it pisses me off. That's the best way I could describe it. It makes me mad that I had said things that I had said because I was ignorant of Islam and of these things. Yeah.
I think what the Muslim community that follows him can be proud of now is that they successfully bullied somebody into feeling horrible about themselves and reconsidering their bravery to ask some simple questions. And I guess, Paul, you can be very proud that you gave into the severe bullying, which destroyed your mental health for a while.
We're proud of that.
Man.
Really, it hits me a lot, like the fact that I said some disgusting things, but I repented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I had handled my own struggles that I had. But during this time, I had a really, really amazing friend that had helped me through this no matter what, because I would say some disgusting things, some nasty things, and they would be there for me to help me. They would take the hit. They would take the hits, lefts and rights. I would hit them all the time with these nasty words, nasty hadith. That at the time I was like, this is nasty. This is nasty. Look at this hadith. Look at this. Right? That was my mindset. And they would struggle with it too. So I'm lowering their iman. I'm lowering their faith as I'm lowering mine. And yet they stayed by my side and they kept looking and looking and looking for answers for me. And they're the ones, with the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are the ones that had helped me and kept me on the path to coming back to Islam.
Tell me whenever you want to say something, Aisha, and I'll pause and you can speak.
Can I just address a comment? Someone just jogged my memory about something. They said, why is Infidel Noodle leaving out the fact that when it all happened, it wasn't because he left Islam. It most certainly was because he left Islam, because I saved all the videos of Muslim apologists voicing their dissatisfaction with him leaving. So they're talking about this atheist live stream that I was in the comments in on TikTok. And there was a Muslim in there. Paul was in that live stream as well in the comments. And this Muslim was threatening to dox me and kill me, the usual kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a joke. I said something like, if you keep doing that, I'm going to do something crazy, like read the Quran on the toilet, because you're being really like mean and rude. Like, just go away. Some stupid joke like that. And Paul, I didn't realize at that point that Paul was in the live chat. This was before he contacted me. I hadn't spoken to him in months. And Paul started laughing. He's like, oh, that's so funny, or whatever. So this person is saying, the Muslim community was mad because Paul laughed at your joke. That's even crazier. If they were threatening and harassing him just because he laughed at a stupid joke that I made, that's even worse than if they did it because he left Islam. So I just don't know what kind of point you're trying to make there. Like, yes, he laughed at a dumb joke, but that was the tip of the iceberg, really. That was before he came forth and said he left the religion.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when he left Islam, I went there and looked into the matter too, because I wanted to make a video about him leaving Islam and all that. And what I saw was that people were just giving him terrible reactions to a video that he published in which he was criticizing certain problematic hadith. Like, he was listing some things about what Muhammad said about child marriage or slavery and all these things, and he was saying, I don't believe in it. I don't believe it, or something like that. And people were just abusing him harshly because of that, just because of that. Just because he was saying, I don't like it, I don't believe in it.
Wow. They're a huge part of it, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them and honor them and preserve them for what they've done, and how much persistence they had. Even though I would say nasty things, they stayed 100%. And this eventually led to me and this person making a website, The Clear Message. And this website was going to be...
Wait, he's referring to this person as them, they, this person. So, which sounds like he's talking about a woman to me, because I'm saying this because he doesn't want to tell people that this is a woman, but he also doesn't want to refer to the person as he, because it's not a he. But he doesn't want to tell his Muslim audience that it's a woman. Is that what's going on here? That's kind of what I'm getting here.
Maybe. I don't know who he's talking about. I don't know who the co-founder of his website is. I suspect it could be a woman, because I very distinctly remember that the only Muslims who continued to show him kindness after he left Islam were a couple of female Muslim influencers, which we've seen before. I mean, it's pretty common, right? You've seen how Ninja Mummy came forth and had a nice, friendly discussion on my YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. So I don't doubt that it could be a woman.
Yeah. This is very inappropriate, Paul. Please correct this.
A website I was making about Islam and debunking Islam, right? Because that's all ex-Muslims do. And
so, what does it have to do with ex-Muslims? Like, what do you...
So you were looking into Islam, and then you decided not to believe in it because it was problematic, and you immediately decided to set up a page to debunk Islam. But this is something that you did because that's what ex-Muslims do. I mean, this guy is unbelievable, man. This guy is really unbelievable.
He is.
During that time, especially during that time, I had ex-Muslims in my DMs, like A-Puss, like Apostate Prophet, and like Infidel Noodle, trying to get, the
pause.
scoop.
Yeah.
Yay.
No, pause. Okay. All right. Moment of truth, right? Because I saved the screenshots and I screen recorded from beginning to end the entire conversation that I had with this guy. You reached out to me on multiple platforms. You tried to message me on TikTok and that didn't work. So then you sent me private messages on Twitter, and you took the initiative to apologize for the fact that you had threatened to dox me. And that was a really cool thing to do. The fact that you took some accountability for your actions and reflected that it was wrong, that was really cool, Paul. And that's what started this, friendship, right? It was this friendship between you and I. We used to talk very regularly. It wasn't even always about Islam. We would just talk about life, and I would try to support you and show you kindness because I knew that you were going through a really rough time. So I don't think it's accurate to say that I was all up in your DMs when you are the one who initiated contact with me. See that screenshot there where it says you accepted this request? That's me accepting the initial contact that you made with me on Twitter. I did not reach out to you. You came to me, and you know that.
Yeah. So here is clear evidence that it is actually him reaching out to Aisha, to Infidel Noodle, in order to start a conversation and apologizing for his terrible behavior and saying, if I do some sus shit, then you can leak this and things like that.
You literally said to me, Paul, if I do some sus shit, I give you full permission to leak these DMs. And then when I did show people these DMs, you tried to victimize yourself and say, how dare you post private conversations that I gave you permission to post? Like, stop contradicting yourself, reflect back on your actions, and take responsibility for the things that you said and did, because we have all the evidence to show that you did do it.
So here's crisp, clear proof, which clearly shows that he contacted you initially. Yet in his video here, he said, AP and Infidel Noodle were all up in my DMs because I left Islam. Dude, please, man. The lie is right here for everybody to see. It's right here, man. And when it comes to me, I didn't collect screenshots of this because I didn't think we would ever come to this case. But what happened was that I made a video without knowing who this guy really is. He started following me and interacting with my tweets on Twitter. I didn't give him much of a reaction. I then at some point retweeted something that he said and invited him for a conversation. So what is correct is that I made the approach to invite him, but he began to interact with me on Twitter as well, and following me around and leaving comments and all that. But now he is here saying that you and I were all up in his DMs. It's a clear lie. He's lying to his own audience right now.
He's lying to his audience. He's lying to himself. And I don't appreciate that he isn't acknowledging that I went out of my way to show kindness to this guy because I could see that he was in a vulnerable state. He described it in this video. He said, I was so depressed, I couldn't get out of bed. And I saw that. And I wanted to help this person. If you go back to those screenshots I posted, in the final one, I clearly said to Paul, I don't care if you ever decide to go back to Islam. I would still want to be your friend. Like, I genuinely don't care what your religious beliefs are. I care about you as a person, and I'd like to support you if you're going through a hard time. And I love that you completely omitted these facts from your revert story video. You don't want to show that ex-Muslims showed kindness to you because that doesn't appease your audience. You know that they only respond when you dehumanize and degrade us, and that is
That's
so
right here.
dishonest. Yeah, it's right
It's
there.
right here. You say, I'm so happy for you. And honestly, even if you decide to have another go at Islam, I would hope we could still keep in touch. I've never disliked or judged anyone simply for being a Muslim, and I never would. You sent him these messages despite the fact that he started talking very, very badly about Islam to you personally and also in public. You still gave him the reassurance, hey, even if you became a Muslim again, it's all fine with me. And here he is acting like it is you who is like, the hateful, terrible one, and me and all the other ex-Muslims. Or at least maybe have the decency, dear Paul, to come out and say, you know what, I didn't remember things correctly. It was actually me. I actually reached out to those people and they were actually very nice to me. How about you do that for the sake of
how about
honesty?
you acknowledge that? Now that the evidence is there and you look ridiculous, you might as well acknowledge your mistake.
Yeah. We hope.
Trying to get the interview, right? They were trying to get this interview from this revert who now left Islam, and they're trying to use that for views because that's all they do because they're losers.
No, stop, pause. Can I just say something? Paul,
Go ahead.
Paul, listen to me. If I wanted to use you and your story for views, do you know what I would have done? I would have published the videos that you sent to me of a Muslim dawah TikToker with over 1 million views filming himself committing a crime. You remember you sent me those videos? I still have them, and I never, ever published them. If I wanted to use you for views, I would have published them as soon as you sent them to me, and I've never even spoken about them before. So don't you dare accuse us of trying to use you for views.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry, I had to say that.
No, it's good to point out. It's good to say. And yeah, maybe Paul, maybe you should acknowledge it. You should say, hey, you know what, guys, I was wrong. I was actually the loser.
Anyway, yeah, so I had started making this website. And
I mean, what the hell is this anyway? He was making a revert story video, and he just can't go through it without attacking you and me senselessly. And
it was going to be about debunking Islam. But instead, as I'm looking to debunk Islam, I'm getting all this information. I'm like, this makes sense. Now that I have this background to this makes sense. Now that I have all this information, this makes so much sense. What am I doing? And I said this to this person that I'm friends with, and they were starting to get relieved because I was starting to come back slowly. And all they could.
Okay, so he's talking about a website that he created, right? I believe it is called The Clear Message, as he said earlier. I believe I'm on the right website right now. I just want to quickly acknowledge that I am on the right website before I put it here on the screen. If I can find the link from his Twitter account directly here. I'll get to that as well. So he created a page called The Clear Message, in which he wants to clarify misconceptions about Islam, such as the things that made him uncomfortable about Islam when he converted to Islam, like, apostasy and slavery and with wife beating, homosexuality, child marriage, and all that. He made the website, and he describes it as something great that this debunks all the ex-Muslims and critics of Islam. I actually checked out the website, which is here, and in case you can't already predict it, nothing is actually being debunked. When he talks about apostasy in Islam, for example, he talks about this like this is something that nobody has ever done before. He has refuted this criticism of the apostasy laws in Islam. He's just reiterating some regular stuff that this was.
Wait. I have to tell you something. Okay,
Go ahead.
so back when I was in discussion with him during his ex-Muslim phase or whatever, he was continuing to research Islam, like he described in his video. And one day he sends me the hadith about Muhammad being poisoned by a Jewish woman. And he genuinely, Ridwan, believed he was the first person to ever discover that this is how Muhammad died. He was like, look at this. Oh my God, he was killed. He was poisoned. We have to tell people. I'm like, everyone knows that. That's not what are you even trying to prove right now? Oh my God. He genuinely thought he was the first person to see that. That is a demonstration of Paul's very impressive Islamic knowledge that he has put forth on this website.
That is so funny. and yeah, he talks about that later on in this video as well, where he basically kind of acts like this is something that nobody has done before, and basically we have all been refuted. And all he does here is repeat some regular talking points and say, apostates were executed because they were considered traitors, and this and that, and if they don't repent, then they will be executed, which is not even true. If you have caused enough offense to Islam, then you will be executed even if you repent, according to most Islamic scholars. That is the truth, and you don't even apparently know this, dear Paul. But in his article here, he basically comes to the conclusion that yes, apostasy laws do exist in Islam, and yes, apostates are killed in Islam. You go to his homosexuality article, I read it through, he basically comes to, well, yes, homosexuals are killed in Islam, but it's the debunking part is that this is not a bad thing.
Yeah, no. Oh, you're having doubts about Islam because of what it says about homosexuality? Don't worry. It just says you should kill homosexuals. Haha, debunked, refuted. Now you will join Islam. Alhamdulillah, subhanallah, we are building the ummah.
Refuted. And he also repeats a misconception here. He says that the penalty for homosexuality is only applied if you do it in public, which is a very dumb idea that some Muslims have started spreading today in the online social media trend. That's not a ruling that exists anywhere within Islamic law, Paul and dear Muslims. Such a thing does not exist. What the rulings say are that if it is discovered that you engage in homosexual activities, and it is proven or admitted, then you will be put to death. It never anywhere says that it has to be done in public in order to be punished with death. What people mean is that if nobody discovers or if nobody knows that you do it, then of course you will not be punished because nobody knows. It is, however, still a crime. That is the law in Islam, Paul. Don't try to educate us. I challenge Farid Response here to fact check Paul's refutation of the critics of Islam, please.
Oh, I would love to see that. Please, Farid, respond.
Farid, show us how honest you are. Please respond to Paul.
It was pray. All they could do was ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide me back, because it was either I'm going to make this website, start doing interviews, and that's where you start to just really go and you start to really leave Islam. subhanAllah. And I didn't. Instead, I came
I just wanted to find that sudden subhanallah out of nowhere.
Oh.
back, and I started leaning back and started leaning back. And finally, at one point, I was like, this website's not going to be about debunking Islam. It's going to be about supporting those who had the same situation as me, who had the same exact situation as me. So we started making this website, and it became one of the most incredible things, and it helps me. If it helped me, and it still helps me, and I'm sure it helps others with all of these situations. Aisha's age, the war verses, right? Everybody brings up the war verses. Debunked. All those, goodbye. Get it out.
Dude, I it's very funny that somebody thinks so highly of themselves, of their
Right.
simple. I mean, I've seen experienced Muslim scholars who wrote down and who sat down and wrote extremely long articles about this stuff. I have to be very fair here now. Right? Yaqeen Institute, they wrote a huge article, paper about about Aisha's age, and I don't believe I have ever heard those guys say, "Yeah, this is okay, done, debunked, out of the window, done, finished, we've done it." And this guy, like, he presented a little article about Aisha's age, and he's like, "Okay, done. I did the Ummah a great service." Dude, I mean, please review the way you think, and I don't know.
So one of the things that he had a problem with, that he voiced to me, was the way that apostates are treated, the fact that the death penalty exists. So he back when he was going through his phase, that was a major problem for him, and I just don't understand how someone who is experiencing those doubts that he was going through would suddenly have those doubts cleared up by reading a little page that says, yes, they are put to death. It is a good thing. Don't you worry. I remember Paul telling me he was so worried about what was happening to ex-Muslims. He wanted to help, and he said, can we start a GoFundMe? And I'm like trying to explain, Paul, a GoFundMe for ex-Muslims is not going to abolish the death penalty for apostates in 12 countries. Like, it doesn't work like that. This is a worldwide systemic issue that we're dealing with. We can't just start a GoFundMe.
Dude, that is
savior
such
complex.
that is such a weird, childish way of thinking about a problem. That's so funny. I don't know, man.
Here, all these situations that people like to bring up, that ex-Muslim loser.
Okay, what's funny is I'm currently I just had a little glance at his article about child marriage, and I don't want to say it. I just want to look at it here and quote it directly. So he quotes some quotations from certain interpreters of the Quran, like from Tafsir al-Jalalain, from the two Jalal scholars, Tafsir Ibn Abbas, which is not even an authentic tafsir, and Muslim scholars themselves will tell you that, dear Paul, you should probably notice if you pretend to be so knowledgeable. This tafsir is not an authentic tafsir. It is not recognized by Sunni Muslim scholars. Ibn Kathir is solid, but only also gives an opinion. But here's what he says. Look, thus concluding that these three main commentators do not support child marriage. In Islam, a person is considered an adult and held responsible for religious and legal obligations when attaining puberty. One's life is divided into two parts. The part is so and so and so and so. The evidence that he gives is, it says, when the child has wet dreams, then puberty comes, and that's when you can get married and have sexual interactions. This is the piece of evidence that he gives from Tafsir Ibn Kathir. And he then says, look, Islam doesn't support child marriage because Islam then considers you an adult, and then,
Yes,
problem solved.
if you are an 8-year-old who has reached puberty, you're not an adult anymore. Debunked, done. It doesn't support child marriage. 8-year-olds, not children, done. Destroyed, refuted.
Look, I feel like this is a terrible way of, I don't know. I feel terrible responding to this guy right now, honestly, in all honesty, but if he wants to be so loud, and if he makes like dozens of videos and comments about us, saying all kinds of stuff, in the end, I will decide to sit down and react. And this is how it will look. Paul, reality check. You are doing a horrible job. You do not understand what you are doing. The sources that you are using do not support your point. You don't even know how to use these sources. And you don't have a proper reason to believe in Islam. Please, at least have the decency not to attack and hate people who disagree with you. Boy, oh boy.
I like to bring up all the time, right? These are all debunked. I got rid of all of that. Got rid of all of
wow, man, I would delusion here. It's
those issues because I struggled with them. I want others to see this. I want others to know about it. I want others to not suffer through this, not struggle, not have these doubts.
He is the savior.
He is the chosen one.
The chosen one. He has come to save the Muslim Ummah from all these doubts.
So we finished this site, we put it up, and the site did really well. It's doing really well. It's great. I love it. And now I know not to rush, right? Because that's what we seem to do. And reverts, especially, don't really understand that you don't need to force yourself. You don't need to push yourself to know everything, right? Islam was given in this 23-year time span, and Muslims had to adjust to this time period.
This is stuff that I said when I was 12 years old, man. I mean, when I would go to Quran courses and learn little lines from my teacher and repeat them. This is stuff that I would say. And I understand, look, he's a new Muslim convert. He didn't hear these things back then as a child. He hears them now. But maybe at this point you should realize that that's not, these are not very strong points and ideas to hold. It's, I mean, I'm out of words.
Every single year they're learning something new. They have to adjust. They have to adjust to all these new things. This is what reverts have to learn. You have to adjust. You're not gonna learn the 5 prayers in a day, in a week, in a month. It might take you a year. It might take you 2 years to get this down. There are Muslims born Muslims who still struggle to get the 5 daily prayers. This is
What?
Yeah.
How can it take you a year to learn how to make salah? What are you talking about?
So is he saying that there are Muslims who for a year cannot learn how to do the 5 daily prayers? Is that what he's saying? I'm not getting it. Is that what he's saying here?
I think that's what he's saying.
That's a very strange thing to think. Maybe he's miscommunicating something. Maybe I misunderstand. Maybe we are misunderstanding something here. But
maybe
people may not be able to do the prayers. I think there are statistics out there which say that most Muslims do not do their 5 daily prayers. It's simply not because people are humans, and humans are not willing to spend their day praying the 5 daily prayers forever. And I'm sure, dear Paul, sorry to say this, but the way you have so far strayed, I'm pretty sure that you will also at some point stop making those, if you are doing them right now, and you will probably leave Islam soon again or something. I don't know. But hey, these things are very easy to learn, and they certainly do not take very long to learn. You can learn them within a day or two. Doing them is a different matter. Doing them is probably unnatural for humans, which is why most humans do not do it. Yeah.
We shouldn't be attacking people for this. Instead, we should be giving really good advice. Instead, we should be supporting them and saying, listen, I struggle with these things too. Let's back each other up. Let's pray together. Let's make a plan to fix these things one at a time, not all at once, right? We need to do this. Because in stories like mine, where I'm taking in too much info, I'm taking in too many things at once, it's gonna cause doubts. It's gonna make you want to leave because you don't understand this stuff. We don't have all of this information out in the public for us to just go grab instantly. You can't just go and click on a website and get the tafsir.
So somebody named Aisha bint Abu Bakr, which is funny, said, "This guy really is not worth the time. Is picking on the unpopular kid really how we're spending our time?" I just want to quickly comment on this. I'm never in favor of, talking about a particular person, picking on them. I've never been a fan of that in my entire life. I wouldn't be a fan of that right now. If I wanted to do that, I would have reacted to this guy so many times because I've heard of and seen this guy make short videos about me or tweets about me that were just incredibly stupid. I'm not exaggerating. They were incredibly dumb, extremely low-hanging fruit. And I could, to save myself from dealing with more, more complicated stuff, just react to all of that and get like interactions from low-hanging fruit. But I don't do that. I'm not a fan of it. But here in this situation, I'm reacting to somebody who is getting quite a bit of support simply for being a white convert, I'm sorry to say, and simply for making videos and tweets for people because people look up to a white guy converting to Islam because they have an inferiority complex. And sorry to say that too. He's been very bad with his language and his attitude. I just want to show him that this is not the way, and I just want to show him how flawed and how bad he actually is with his approach. And this entire time, I don't ever want to treat him the way he treats me. If we go further into this, if I show you tweets that he made about me and the videos that he made about me, you will see how he talks about me unprovoked and about others. I don't want to do that. I sent him a link earlier and said, "Hey, we are going to talk about you. Feel free to join us so you can speak for yourself. I'm not here to bully anybody."
And when he made videos encouraging people to harass and bully me, I politely made a video inviting him to have a live one-on-one discussion with me as well. He responded to that by threatening to dox. So it's not like we haven't tried to give him an opportunity for a reasonable discussion. It's that he's not willing to engage with that.
Yeah, look at this. I mean, here, let me show you the proof here. I sent him a link earlier. Look, it's right here. He even posted it directly. I sent him a link to this stream and said, "We will talk about you. You are free to join and speak for yourself." Instead of responding nicely to this, to my courteous, however you say it, approach,
Courteous?
yeah. He said, "The obsession is real."
Like,
Dude, I mean, do you have no self-awareness at all here? You make dozens of posts about me all the time. I barely respond. I finally make a video stream and say, "Hey, you can join us if you want to." And he's like, "Oh, look, this guy is obsessed with me."
does he still have, what's his cover picture at the moment? Because it used to be, his cover picture on Twitter used to be a bunch of ex-Muslims, but we're the obsessed ones. Like,
It's not
how?
anymore. It's not anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Probably because I pointed that out at some point, because he kept saying we were obsessed. And then I said, okay, well, here's all the times you've talked about ex-Muslims. You made us your cover photo.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he reflected on that and took it down.
He's watching this right now. I saw earlier that he reacted to it on
Undoubtedly.
on Twitter. So Paul, you are watching it right now. You have the link. I can
Just
send you the
engage
invitation.
with us.
I've sent you the invitation link right now. If you at any moment feel like, wait a minute, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these guys are right. Maybe they are not so bad. Then here, I'm sending you the link right now. And you're receiving that right now. A bing goes
Ninja
up on your
Mummy
side right now.
did
You
this.
can join.
Yeah, Ninja Mummy did this. She took that step and took accountability for things that she regretted, and she engaged live. Show us that you have the courage and the bravery and decency to do that same thing, and just talk to us. You know, you've talked to me one-on-one, face-to-face for 5 hours before. You know that I will be decent towards you and that we're not here to attack you. We just want to talk about our disagreements with your rhetoric. That's all we want to do.
Yeah. You have said horrible stuff about me and about others. I will not do any of that. If you decide to come on here right now and have a proper conversation, I will be only kind and good and understanding to you. And we will have a proper conversation if you want to do it. Paul, feel free to join the stream. You have the link. You just need to click on it. Yeah. And hey, nobody will blame you if you say, I made a mistake. I will entirely understand it. I will forgive you. I have done it already. I'm not even in a place to forgive you. I will look past it and we'll have a conversation with you. I'll understand you. There's no need for any of this.
For this specific verse at this specific time, right? It's not that easy. You have to actually go and look through the books. Not all of them are in English. So if you really want good information, you have to go to the Arabic. You have to go to the Arabic. That's where the detail, the real full-on detail lies. Reverts can't do this. They can't. Most of them can't speak Arabic, right? This is where community support comes in. This is where people who do speak Arabic need to realize, listen, this revert needs help. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to show them each thing one at a time. I'm going to try and back them off of looking further into these hadith, into these things, and try and get them onto their prayer. Try and get them onto understanding tawheed. Try and get them to understand aqidah, right? All of these things need to be first. All of these things. You can't look into hadith as a revert. That shouldn't be what you...
I'm pretty sure I read in one of the Aqidah books of one of the major scholars that I think it is a commentary from Imam I don't know, in some Shafi sources, that the scholarly opinion on their part is that the regular person should not concern themselves with learning the details of Aqidah. They should only acknowledge it, take it from their scholars as it is. They should learn, however, about the do's and don'ts of their Islamic religion, which they can learn from their Islamic tradition, from the Sunnah, the Hadith, from fiqh books, from asking their scholars, and so on. And funny thing is, he mentioned how the early Muslims learned Islam. I mean, they learned it while directly witnessing the hadiths. The earliest Muslims didn't have hadith books. They were given an oral tradition of Muhammad, which is how they learned it. They weren't given Aqidah books and demonstrations on how Islamic theology works. So you got it all wrong, Paul. I think people should definitely learn about the Islamic tradition instead of going into the details of the nature of belief. But yeah,
Billy,
whatever.
You should be looking into who is Allah? Who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Who am I going to be praying to? Right? Who is this that I am going to be giving all of my worship to? 110%. I need to know that. Reverts aren't getting this. I feel like they're getting overwhelmed very fast by there's support, and then there's this people like to call it advice. It's really not. And then there's...
Wait, what did you say? Sorry for doing that.
People like to call it advice. It's really not. There's support, and then there's forcing. You have tattoos, you're a revert, and you have these, you're a revert, and you have a dog. These things, wiped, right? They just reverted. Tattoos, they don't have to worry about it. That's forgiven, but they shouldn't get any more. Your advice should be, Achi, I know you have tattoos.
Oh, that's cringe-worthy. Why do you say the word Achi? Why do you say Achi? Why do you do this, Paul? Paul, you are an American, I don't know, person of English, German, Scottish, something origin, whatever you are. Why do you say Achi? Which is basically just, brother in Arabic. Why do you I have, look at the context.
But you just reverted, so your sins are forgiven. You don't have to worry about your tattoos that you have currently.
Okay, so this is apparently what a Muslim is supposed to say to somebody else. Like, Achi, you just converted, don't mind. Dude, I spent my life around Turkish, Albanian, and Bosnian Muslims, and I never once heard the word Achi, because It's Arabic. It's not something that you need to say. It's not something that you use in your daily life. This is something that Arabic-speaking people use, or people who hang out with Arabic-speaking people, or maybe some different cultures. I don't know. Why would you suddenly start speaking Arabic for no reason at all, without even any religious purpose in it? I don't get it. It's so weird.
That has nothing to do with Islam. You look at any Muslim out there who isn't of Arab ethnicity, and they are not going to be saying that. Not once in my life did any of the Muslims surrounding me speak like that. That is cringeworthy. You are American. You have to accept your American identity. This is not the way to address your identity crisis. This is a little embarrassing. I'm not going to lie right now.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know what "akhi" means until much, much later, because I heard others say it, and I was like, "Oh, wait, this is connected to that word in here." Okay, but that doesn't make you a Muslim. It doesn't make you look Muslim. It just makes you look like you're trying to be like
Makes
those
you,
Muslims who you see online.
or like a wannabe Arab. Someone said it in the
Yeah,
comments. That's kind of
yeah,
how this is coming across. Please stop.
yeah. Isa 87 said, "I'm Arab. We don't want him." Don't say that. Oh boy.
But in the future, I advise you not to get any more, because it's a sin. It's not good to harm yourself. It's not good to harm your body. Listen, I struggle with this too, and I'm just giving you this information. I'm relaying this information to you to make sure that we all, at the end of the day, we all want to go to Jannah, right? We all want to please Allah in the best way possible. And this is what I'm trying to give you. This is the advice I'm trying to give you. Don't worry. Don't rush yourself. Don't force yourself into this. I'm here for you if you need me. May Allah bless you and preserve you. Right? That should be the advice. It shouldn't be haram, haram, haram. You kafir. Like this is how people act online, and it's ridiculous and it's pathetic, and it shouldn't happen, right? This isn't how we should act towards reverts, towards born Muslims. We shouldn't be talking this way to people. We should be advising.
I'm trying
We're
very
born
hard.
Muslims. We're born Muslims, by the way. Just want to put that out there. If you shouldn't be
Yeah.
acting like that towards born Muslims, me and Ridvan were born into Islam. So maybe you should take your own advice.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't want to act like I'm speaking out of a position of, like superiority or authority or anything, but I lived Muslim culture. I was born into it. Aisha lived Muslim culture. She was born into it. If it comes to reading sources and learning Islam, I read many different books of fiqh and aqidah, which I'm pretty sure he has not yet done. He might be beginning to do that. Have practiced Islam for a much longer time than he did. So please, man, please, take your own advice. Take your own pill.
In a polite, kind, in a way that shows support and doesn't show this breaking away, like, I'm better than you. You need to do this. You need to do that. There are times for that, right? There are times for us to be more forceful in getting people to understand the deen.
Seriously, if I was a Muslim right now and I was watching like this, I would feel a little bit patronized by some guy who comes in here as an outsider who just walked in and tells you how to behave. It's very weird.
And there's times for us to be reserved, right? These are new people to the religion. Let's be reserved. Let's give them the time and the space that they need. Hey, you're struggling with prayer? Do one at a time, right? Do one at a time. Start with Fajr. Start with that. Do that first, right? Start with that. Do that for a month. Do that for 2 months. Focus on that.
I don't think that's really valid advice within Islamic standards. I think if you asked an Islamic scholar about that, they would say, "Hey, that's not the way." But whatever. I'm kind of looking forward to when we will be done with this advice to Muslims part.
Get the Arabic down. Learn the Arabic. Learn to memorize it. Okay. Converts need to do.
Okay. Yeah.
I know I rant. I'm ranting and I'm going all over the place, but I feel like this is important for everybody. My story happens, and you see the disaster, and there's not many people there for the support. There's not many people there to stop this before it even happens. There's a lot of How dare you say that? How dare you reject this hadith? Explain this. If I can't do a good job explaining this to you, I will find somebody for you.
Okay.
I think on the online sphere, on the online community, there seems to be like the louder people seem to be the ones doing that. The ones haram, takfir. It's just kafir. You can't do this. We can't do this. This isn't how we give da'wah. This isn't how we
Okay, Paul.
Muslims that are going to be like, I'm there for you. I've got your back. I'll help you in the best way I can. Like my one and never coming. Loser, kafir, losers.
Whoa, wait.
Go back.
Alhamdulillah. I am not with those loser, kafir, losers, right? Those like A plus loser, right?
This?
Wait a second. I need to see that again.
Just play it again.
That was very cringy.
For losers, right? Those like A plus Christian Prince loser who starts all these videos and says all this nonsense, right? We don't follow that, right? We
Alhamdulillah with this like A plus loser.
What is that giggle?
What are you trying to do? I mean, you don't try so hard, Paul. Please. Oh, boy. I'm trying very hard not to die from cringing here. It's just, please, man. Look in the mirror. Look at your video. Why is this part of his revert video? Alhamdulillah. I'm not those losers like kafir, apus, Christian. What is this, man? Yeah.
Oh my God.
So if you want to convert to Islam, or if you want to find a new worldview and show the world how amazing you are and how much peace you found, make sure that you include some insults at people who would disagree with you, and also go like that makes you look very successful in your pursuit of truth.
Prince loser who starts all these videos and says all this nonsense, right? We don't follow that, right? We follow the Sunnah, we follow the Quran, we follow the truth, we follow the haqq, right?
Haqq. I mean, I don't know, Paul. As far as I remember, when you had your doubts, the first thing that you wanted to do was to create a website to debunk Islam. So, I mean, losers like you were apparently doing that stuff, and then you decided not to do that, but to do the other loserly thing, which is to create a website to defend Islam immediately from the losers like yourself, which is very funny, very, very funny, man. I don't know. Maybe as a new Muslim, you should try to sit down and learn more about your religion, and then, try to practice it, try to experience it, try to see if you have actually found some truth within it. Try to find a reason why you actually believe in Islam. So far, I haven't even seen one. Have you heard a proper reason why he believes that Islam is true, Aisha?
Not a single reason, not a single justification, not a single, this makes sense scientifically, and therefore it convinced me that this must be true. All I heard was, I was alone, I found a community, they made me feel nice, they made me depressed, then I did what they wanted, they made me feel nice again, and now, Apus, loser, that's all I've heard.
God. Yeah, man. I mean, I really don't want to be like this. But Paul,
I'm sorry.
You're just really asking for it here.
This is what we follow. We don't follow the crowd of lunatics, the crowd of mentally ill, right?
Mentally ill now being used in a derogatory, insulting manner, when just a few minutes ago you were suffering from depression yourself. What?
It might be that, like many average people, Paul might not be aware that depression is a mental illness. He might think it's just a state that you are in.
No,
to
he's aware. I very clearly explained to him that I felt that he might be experiencing this back when he left Islam. I talked through the symptoms and how he can address and manage the symptoms he was experiencing. He's very aware of what depression is.
It's very funny. So he left Islam, started to question it. No, he started to question Islam, was treated horribly. Left Islam, was treated terribly. Found himself with a debilitating in a debilitating mental state, a depression, which is a mental illness in this case. He then eventually submitted to the bullying and finally came back to Islam. And now he describes ex-Muslims like us who criticize Islam or other people who criticize Islam as the mentally ill people, the lunatics. And I mean, really, is it? I just want to point out one thing here, which is the trend of becoming a Muslim revert. Sorry, I don't know why I said revert. Revert, a Muslim convert, and then starting to attack people in such a hateful way and describing people who disagree with you as mentally ill in a very
Can I
derogatory
point
way,
out, though, that
dehumanizing them.
that's not where it ends, though, right? If you guys know who Rahaf Muhammad is, she was 18 years old when she escaped from Saudi Arabia. Okay, she was born into Saudi Arabia and had to go through a very traumatic process to escape that situation. Something that someone like Paul could never, ever relate to. He can never understand what that experience was like for that young woman, yet had the audacity to come online and call her an online hooker, among other derogatory comments he made about this brave, courageous young woman who escaped an Islamic theocracy. Like, it's not just that his ad hominem attacks are ending at calling us the losers and calling us mentally ill. He is saying disgusting things about people he can never understand or relate to. People he claimed in that screenshot you would have seen, he claimed to have empathy for us. He told me in that screenshot that he would never treat ex-Muslims like this again. And here you are going against your word, doing exactly what you said you would never do, Paul.
In a much worse way, to much worse extents. I mean, yeah, he says such things. I wasn't aware of him using such terrible words against Rauf Muhammad. But I mean, him even justifying the death penalty for people over their life choices and opinions, something that he apparently was so appalled and disgusted by before that he left Islam when he found it out. But now he's back just defending and justifying that stuff and calling people mentally ill because they don't believe in what he believes in. Oh boy. Sorry, I want to correct myself here. He will say, not because you don't believe what I believe in, it's because you leave Islam and then you attack it and you lie about it and so on. I'm sorry, yeah, that's just, in other words, because we disagree with you.
We don't do that. We're not doing that here. But yeah, so this is what I'm gonna give you for my revert story, and just, I guess, advice in a sense to us, that we need to be a community. We need to help each other. We need to guide each other with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is how we need to do it. Otherwise, it's going to end up bad. I'm telling you, this online stuff, these online communities are not what in person is like. And I know that for a fact. Yeah, we need to do better.
Yeah,
I think in
better,
terms of advice.
Yes, please be better.
In the best way that we can.
Is this really the way, Paul? Is this really the way, dear Muslims? I mean, complaining about how immoral and terrible and disgusting the enemies of Islam or the ex-Muslims or the others are, and then coming together as a community, as a religion, where you only support each other and basically hate and humiliate and destroy and attack and try to bully everybody else, and thereby creating a world in which it is us versus you. us against the enemies, whom we can call names and say whatever we want. Is that really your ideal solution to the problems in our world? It's here's like this tweet was recently made on Twitter by some person, which says, "Do we hate LGBTQ plus? Yes. Do we hate Shias? Yes. Do we hate feminism? Yes. Do we hate modernism? Yes. Do we hate liberalism? Yes. As Muslims, we should be proud to proclaim the truth." This seems very close to the attitude that Paul is having now in his newfound conversion to Islam. And everybody else doesn't really is not really convinced that you guys have found something beautiful here. Anything you want to add?
Do we live in the West? Yes. Do we refuse to leave the West and live in an Islamic country? Yes. I think they forgot to include that part. I think that would have been important to say too.
Yeah. Do we use Twitter? Yes.
But yeah, I'm going to end it here because if I keep, I'm just going to keep ranting. Guys, I hope you liked the video.
I love it.
If you did, just leave a
Great.
comment.
Amazing.
And I'll start making more content. I'm going to start posting refutations. I'm going to start posting things like this.
Dude, I'm not going to say it again.
Because that is what I'm good at. I think I'm pretty good at that. And go do debates and do all that. I'm going to stay where I am and do my refutations and continue to learn. And I'm going to...
Let me tell you something. In all honesty, Paul and some others, if you want to engaging with the opponents and the critics of Islam and with arguments against Islam, then and if you think I'm not a debate person, I'll rather do refutations because I'm good at refutations. Hey, I want to tell you something. Refutation is like the easiest thing that you can possibly do, because you don't have to be good, you don't have to be right, you don't have to be correcting the other person, you don't have to be making a good point. All you need to do is to sit down and record a video, say some nice things, and have people react to you. That's it. If you really want to be good at what you are doing for your religion, then maybe go out and discuss with people, live, under specific rules. Listen to the other side, tell the other side your opinion, have their reaction live to your opinion. Or just go home and read your books and learn more about your religion and practice your religion by yourself first. Figure it out and then come and make refutations. Refutations are like the easiest thing that you can do. Anyone can just Google it and sit down and do it. It's nothing, man.
Share my Arabic learning experiences and stuff like this. I'm going to keep you guys in on what I'm doing as much as I can. So, bismillah. All right, guys, I'm going to go. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful. Wa alaikum assalam. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi. What do you think?
I mean, that was, that was interesting. I think it's great that Paul we didn't really have to say much, did we? We just had to show previous things that he'd said and how that aligns with what he's currently saying. And he kind of speaks for himself in that regard.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't expect much. I didn't get much. We were looking for a reason why Islam is true. He didn't give us a reason. We were looking for some good reflections. We didn't see any. We were looking for some truths. We didn't find those either. Just a lot of problems. And I hope that he can reflect now and, just review the way he has been acting and the way he has been thinking, the way he has been treating his newfound religion. Unfortunately, I don't have much hope. It will be kind of upsetting if all he does as a reaction to this is just to continue publishing dumb stuff about us and about the enemies of Islam and things like that, because that's what his Muslim audience likes. That's what makes you popular in the Islamic circle.
Yeah, and Paul, it's really odd that you block me across all platforms and then continue to speak about me and say that I'm obsessed with you. It was really strange that when I posted about those screenshots on Instagram, that within a few hours, you had seen and responded to it. despite having blocked me, you continue to go out of your way to clearly check up on my content. And then I get a DM from a new Instagram account saying, Paul responded about you on Instagram. Maybe he blocked you. So here's a screenshot of it. I wonder who went out of their way to send that to me. I'm very curious. It's quite odd.
That's very weird behavior. That sounds very familiar coming from other people as
does.
well. Yeah. So I want to look at one thing very quickly here with you. It's only a 3-minute video. So he published another video here, which is actually his second video on his channel. Very funny. His second video on his new channel is titled Apostate Prophet Demolished.
Oh, but you're obsessed with him, by the way, just in case you forgot.
Yeah, and the first thing that he does is to post a video about me, which he titles "Apostate Prophet Demolished" in capital letters, screaming. And I looked at it and I just wanted to quickly review this here.
Number one, are you allowed to disagree with anything that the Quran and Muhammad say?
Nope. Ibn Taymiyyah said whatever the Prophet, peace be upon him, learns from the Lord is obligatory for the Muslims to believe, even if they don't understand it.
I didn't really expect a response to that question, so it's very weird that he would actually cite Ibn Taymiyyah out of all in response to that question. Just say no.
Do you believe an Islamic State should be eventually established, or do you prefer secularism?
100% an Islamic State should be established. Look at what happens when secularism runs wild in the United States. You have
Then go move to one.
You're pregnant and have periods, and you have people believing there's infinite genders. Get it out of here. It's garbage.
Oh, what do you say, Aisha?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying you can go move to one if that's truly what you believe in. It's a bit odd that you would continue to choose to live in a secular Western democracy when you have the option to move to many different Muslim countries out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just take this opportunity, Paul, and go to the Islamic paradise that you want to live in, because apparently the liberal West is so terrible. And this is a very common way of thinking found in the online Muslim apologist communities, where they try to present this false dichotomy of like either you have Islam, an Islamic State with Islamic rules, or you have a terrible liberal Western nation where people are, making all kinds of weird claims and going through all kinds of weird things. Dude, even if you disagree with this part, the alternative is not only Islam. That's a false dichotomy. There is a wide range of ways of viewing the world and living the world and organizing society. It's not either Islam or, whatever you dislike about the West. That's a terrible way of thinking. It's a fallacy.
Do you believe that homosexuality should be banned and punishable by death?
Abu Dawood, Volume 6, page 510, Hadith number 4462. I'll put what the Arabic says underneath. Here's the thing. If we're under an Islamic State, should these things be banned? Yes. Now, here's the thing. If you're a disgusting human being who goes out in public and does indecent sexual acts and gets caught, yes, the court should give you the punishment that you deserve. If 4 witnesses see and then report it to the courts, yes, you should get the punishment. This is Ibn Majah, Volume 3, Hadith number 2561. Now, if you do these acts in your own privacy, then it's between you and Allah. And it's as simple as that. The courts handle the punishment, the people do not.
Nobody asked about the people.
No one asked that. No one asked that. I would like you to go up to any well-known Muslim apologist out there and say, is it okay if gay people commit homosexual acts in private? Because I don't think they're going to agree with you on that stance, Paul.
Yeah, Paul, go to, I don't know, let's drop some names here. Go to
Muhammad Hijab?
Muhammad Hijab, Ali Dawa, to mention the lower ones. Go to Farid, go to Daniel Kikichu, go to all these people, or go to Sheikh Uthman. Say, hey guys, I'm right? That if homosexual people only practice it in their home, then it doesn't, it's none of our business. It's only punished with death if you do it outside in public. Right, guys? Right, Akhi? They will all tell you that is nonsense, and they will ask you, where the hell did you get that from? They will say, where the hell did you get that from? There is no such thing. the ruling is that if it is discovered that you engaged in homosexual activities, then you deserve the death penalty. If it is proven, if there are 4 people, or if it is if there is enough convincing evidence, or if the individuals come out and say, yes, we did this, then that is punishable. It is because the act itself is punishable. How you find it out is not the point here. And the idea that when you do it at home, in your home, that it's all between you and Allah, that's nonsense. That such a thing doesn't exist. Otherwise, it would be okay for gay people to live together, which does not happen in Islamic societies because it is banned. It's forbidden, Paul. Please, man, before you go out and claim that you have done the work for the Ummah and that you have, destroyed me and all the others, just learn the first most basic things about these problems. I'm done with this guy.
Or do you believe that the Jews and Christians and the non-believers are the worst of creatures?
Let's just not listen to you and look into the tafsir. It is they who are the worst of people because they learned about the truth, but they ignored it, so they became losers in this world and the hereafter. Here's another tafsir. Those who opposed the truth from Allah. We really don't care if this hurts your feelings, puss.
So what this actually means is that those who reject Islam, that is what is being meant here. This is known. This is a very well-known fact within Islam. Those who hear about Islam and then reject Islam are disbelievers, kafirs, and they are, according to the Quran, the worst of creatures. And excuse me, what exactly about this was now a refutation of my point and a proper answer to my question?
I was just thinking the same thing. So you are putting forward these very basic questions that clearly, if you are answering yes to, prove the barbarity of Islam. And he's going through all of them and going, yes, 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 yes. And somehow he's debunked you. I'm a little bit confused here.
Demolished. You have to say it
demolished.
wrong. Demolished. Loudly. Demolished. So you just have to answer all the questions with a yes. I don't see the demolition here, Paul. Where's the demolition, Paul? The Quran says that those who don't believe in Islam, who reject Islam, are the worst of creatures. That's what it says, Paul. Just say yes, Paul. Come on, Paul.
Do you agree that a 50-year-old man can marry a 9-year-old girl?
Interesting how the same people that complain about this are the same people that want to force little kids to talk about sexuality in school.
Really? Are they?
I've never heard Ridwan talk about wanting to force kids to discuss sexuality in school. I've never heard him say that.
I don't know. Maybe he found evidence for that somewhere, that I actually am in favor of forcing people to discuss such things in school. I don't know.
Maybe a voice came to him in the early hours of the morning and told him that you believe that.
This is a very basic fallacy together with a lie, where you distract from the point by bringing up something that your opponent said, which has nothing to do with the point at all. Just respond to the point.
Just get to the point.
Just respond to the point.
The term maturity then versus maturity now is completely different, and you should know this.
Uh-huh. And is that what I asked?
It's a yes or no question.
Is that what I asked? Did I ask anything about that? Here's my question once more.
Do you agree that a 50-year-old man can marry a 9-year-old girl?
Interesting how the same people that complain about this are the same people that want to force little kids to talk about sexuality in school. The term maturity then versus maturity now is completely different, and you should know this.
Did I talk about then and now? No, I asked a very simple question. Do you think it's okay that a 50-year-old man can marry a 9-year-old girl or a 6-year-old girl? That is the question. And Paul, the Muslim apologists that you interact with will not accept your explanation that this is just about Muhammad's own time and that the concept of maturity was different back then. No. Many of your fellow Muslim apologists will tell you that marrying a 9-year-old or 6-year-old girl in our time is still completely okay, because there is a moral example set here. Otherwise, please find me a source in which your respected Muslim apologists and scholars say this was only in that time based on this specific hadith and ruling and so on. Go ahead. Anything you want to add, Aisha?
I mean, he did say on his website that if a person has reached the age of puberty, they are mature. And to me, that is implying that if a girl has reached puberty at 9 years old, then yes, she can marry a 50-year-old man, according to Paul's very clear website.
And his a piece of evidence was that a scholar said that if a child has a wet dream, then it's considered puberty, and then the child is ready.
He's trying to get yes or no responses out of questions that require in-depth answers.
No, it doesn't.
No, just answer the question, man.
You didn't even answer the question.
Yeah, he didn't answer. That's very funny.
Do you believe that the Muslims will fight and kill the Jews, and even rocks and trees will give the Jews away?
The answer should be very simple here. Yes, because that's what the hadith say.
If you simply search up the hadith he mentions and then go back one, it explains exactly what this hadith is about. The Jews will fight against you and you will gain victory.
Oh, great. And
What?
now?
So the answer is yes. Okay, like
It doesn't matter. Okay, what you're doing here by looking at the other report is you're finding one version in which it says the Jews will fight you, as opposed to the other versions which say you will fight the Jews. And
Debunk.
okay, how exactly does this now debunk me, or is a response to my question? It's not. Just answer the question. Do you believe that in the future the Muslims will fight the Jews and kill them, and even the trees and rocks will say, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him, but only one tree will not betray them because that tree is the tree of the Jews? That's what your hadiths say. Just say yes. If you say, well, the hadith actually say that they will be fighting us, that's why this will be happening, I'm sorry, that might be a very good explanation in your own mind, but others will not be convinced that that is a good explanation.
Do you agree that those who leave Islam should be put to death?
If under an Islamic state you leave the fold of Islam and then you cause mischief in the land and you don't repent for it, you get whatever the punishment is that you deserve.
which is the death penalty
So
according
you
to
do.
Islam. So
Yeah,
you
so he
just say
does.
yes.
So he does. Just say yes. Just say yes. And he doesn't even have to include the part of causing mischief in the land. By Islamic laws, if you leave Islam, which requires that it is publicly known that you left Islam, then you will be put to death. That is the Islamic law agreed upon by the Islamic scholars. Plus, he also mentioned
Deserve.
if you don't repent,
You
right?
get whatever the punishment is that you mischief in the land and you don't repent for it. You get whatever the punishment is that you deserve.
False. Repenting or not is a matter that is, if you leave Islam, according to most Islamic scholars, if you leave Islam, including Ibn Taymiyyah, whom he likes to cite so much, especially according to him, if you leave Islam and you cause mischief by talking about it and spreading your disbelief and criticizing Islam, it doesn't matter if you repent or not, you will still be put to death, even if you repent. Whereas if you leave Islam, then you can be given the option to repent, by which you can evade the death penalty. But even there is a difference among scholars whether this option should be given, whether you should be given a little bit of time to repent, or whether you should just be killed. So this is misinformation, plus he just avoids a simple yes or no. Anything you want to add?
I just think it's so funny that he has such a limited and narrow understanding of basic Islamic jurisprudence that any Muslim out there is probably well aware of, but he is so convinced beyond a doubt that he has to be right and that he is teaching people the right way and the right interpretation and demolishing you, of course.
Yeah, and he has done the Ummah a great service. That's what he thinks. Paul, please.
That women are deficient in intelligence.
So this is the hadith you mentioned, and this is the explanation. This is the one that goes more in depth. Isn't it true that a woman can neither pray nor fast during her menses? This is her deficiency in her religion. Deficiency in intelligence has to do with transaction and law-related things, since women weren't really involved with those things back then.
What? What is he talking about?
But here, you can read these. I'll let this go by quick because I don't have much time left. The sun.
Okay, so my question is, do you believe that women are deficient in intelligence? And his response is, the reports say that women are deficient in intelligence because they can't, engage in the financial, jurisprudential things as mentioned in the Quran. Okay. Okay. So, do you believe women are deficient in intelligence? Oh. This is so good. Man. And I don't have much energy.
Things back then. But here, you can. I don't have much.
And then he skipped my last two questions, I think, and just made some little weird comments. Wait a minute.
The sun sets in murky water. Saw the sun with his own eyes as if it was setting in a dark black sea.
In my original video, I didn't even mention the sun setting in a murky water. My question to Ninja Mami, which is the topic of the video that he's responding to, was, do you believe that the sun goes somewhere at night? And I was quoting Muhammad, who said that the sun goes to a resting place and prostrates under the throne of Allah and so on. He's responding to something completely irrelevant, to the sun setting in a dark mud in the Quran.
Wife beating. Shut up and go on my website if you want the answer for this.
That's it.
Oh my God, that's it?
That's
That's
it.
the demolishment. He has now demolished you. Is that what
Yeah,
we're saying?
yeah.
Okay.
Everybody, please vote. Please tell me if you think he has demolished me. I'll make a poll here and ask, did Paul demolish Apostate prophet? What do you think about this?
I just don't know what else there is to say about this guy. I mean, he's presented with a series of simple yes or no questions, and then he demolishes you by proving your point and taking his sweet time to essentially just say yes. How did he watch that and think like, this is good? Like, I've got him now. This is great.
I even saw a tweet from him earlier in which he said, I already debunked him completely. He won't be able to return from that.
What? No, he said this.
I'm serious. That's what he actually thinks.
Paul, if you are so convinced of your Islamic knowledge, genuinely convinced of your Islamic knowledge, no Mufti Google coming into play here. Have a discussion live, one-on-one, moderated. It doesn't have to be on your channel, Apostate Prophet's channel. Let it be on a third-party, unbiased platform, and just show us your confidence in your own knowledge. If you are genuinely that confident, I don't see why this would be an issue for you. Like you said, you clearly have the time to spend on these activities. So show us, just show us that you can demolish Apostate Prophet.
Yeah.
You're claiming you can, so put it to the test. Put your money where your mouth is.
I should have saved it. I didn't. I don't know where it is, but I just saw that earlier when I was looking through his tweets before we went live, that he said that in response to somebody, like that he already destroyed me and there is no coming back from that. And dude, I mean, I don't care. You know, I don't care about his how he thinks about me and how he thinks he destroyed me and all that. But man, have some self-awareness. Really, it's just very embarrassing and very dumb, very childish. Please, man, have some self-awareness, dude. bro. Somebody said I'm almost 40 years old in his thread. I'm 31.
Also, what does that have to do with it? Why do you guys always bring up all these irrelevant little things and be like, got you? Like, just address the issues being raised and discussed. You don't need to call people losers and bring in age into things. Someone did that to me too. Some apologist called Believers Hub. I said to her, can you please show me one piece of evidence to prove this point you're making? And her response was, aren't you like 30? What does that have to do with anything? Okay.
Yeah.
Will you answer my question now that we've established my age?
He also said on his Twitter that you are just trying to use his name to get your 2 minutes of fame.
I told you what I would do if I was trying to use your name for something, and I didn't do that thing. I could, but I won't.
He is saying that you are using him to get fame.
Yeah, clearly that's what I need. I need you so bad.
This guy is very, very strange. I feel like I'm bullying a child right now.
I mean, he's a grown man. He's nearly my age, so
hard to
you know.
believe. At this point, yeah. Anyway, yeah. This is just very bad. I'm very sorry for treating another human being this way.
Yes.
It's just that I explained earlier. I never wanted to do this. I didn't want to do this, but at some point somebody needs to respond and show this person how wrong they are and how terrible their behavior and their attitude is, how they have no clue what they're doing, especially after they insist for such a long time that they are so fantastic and that you are so terrible and they humiliated you and so on. And it's just my advice to Paul here to do some reality check and to ground yourself a little bit and, I don't know, reflect on your mistakes, move forward toward a better future for yourself.
Yeah, and take accountability. Now that the screenshots are out there, posted with your permission, of course, take some accountability for what you said. Take accountability for the fact that you intentionally omitted the kindness that many people from the ex-Muslim and atheist communities showed to you. I just find it really interesting that you seem to have forgotten that we treated you with genuine support, and suddenly it's like, that never happened. That never happened.
Yeah. I've never treated him the way that he tries to treat us right now, and it's just all coming from his side. Nobody treated him this way. He just does it because he thinks that makes him cool in front of his Muslim audience.
How do you think your Muslim audience are going to feel, Paul, when they see messages of me saying to you, I don't care if you go back to Islam. Like, I don't care if someone is a Muslim or chooses to follow Islam. Like, I would be happy to engage and be friends with anyone, regardless of their faith. But then your response to that is to call me mentally ill and a loser. How do you think that juxtaposition between what I said and what you're saying is making you and your community look right now?
Wait a minute. Oh god. Okay. I did this wrong. I did the poll and I asked, did Paul demolish Apostate Prophet, and said yes, no. I wanted to do both options, yes, as a joke. No, I forgot it. Anyway. Okay, I quickly want to go through a few super chats here. Ham1900 said, what time is it? Where are you? Love your work. Thank you so much. That was long before, but yeah, now we are here. Let's start. Thank you so much. Kasim Tufail made a super sticker, which I cannot see. Oh, it's a superhero sign. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Benjamin Ayuda said, cowards can't debate, so they threaten to dox instead. Yeah. I still say, I've always said, I know they like to react with, oh, look, they just want attention. They just want to, use us and all that. Stop with that nonsense. I am a critic of Islam. Infidel Noodle is a critic of Islam. We are here and we are saying, if you guys have a problem with us and what we say and do, just come out here and discuss with us personally. Debate with me. I'm always open to it. I've always been open to it. Unfortunately, none of the big debaters wants to accept the debates, which is not because they're scared of me or anything. That's not what I'm saying. They're scared of their own audiences and their own questions, rather. Just come out and discuss with us, debate with us. What could go wrong? Benjamin Oda said, left religion at 6 years old. He's a child prodigy. I forgot about that.
I love that.
He was a little genius. Yeah. Mila Hoffman made a super chat. Houston Matthew says the Dunning-Kruger effect is quite apparent here. Yeah, that's actually a very brilliant demonstration of just that. Some guy reading a little bit, hearing a little bit, and thinking he knows it all now. What do you think, Aisha? Do you think he will at some point leave again and join again? And
Look, I think the fact that he can switch up so quickly and go from one extreme to another without warning in that way, the fact that he's done it before definitely suggests that he's more than capable of doing something like that again. I mean, maybe this time next year he'll be an ex-Muslim Buddhist, or I don't know, whatever minority he decides to join and become a part of and use to gain a bigger platform. Maybe Hinduism, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where his journey takes him.
why are you talking about this? Aren't you like 30 years old? Oh, what a point. Fergie said, happy to be an ex-Muslim. Thank you for exposing that backwards mentality. Yeah, mentally. Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Stefan Milievich. Hi, Stefan. As always. Hi, both of you. Can you comment on Cactus Boy criticizing Islam? Did he done anything right? Infidel Noodle, you are the unstoppable force. Do not stop. Do you want to say anything about that when he left Islam?
I think he made some valid points in the questions he was raising. You know, why do you guys think that it is fair for gay people to be treated in this way? Why do you think that it's okay to kill someone for leaving and criticizing Islam? I think these are valid questions. In terms of making valid criticisms, I just don't think he knew enough. I mean, we're talking about a guy who thought he discovered the way Muhammad died. Genuinely thought he discovered it. So he tried his best. He raised valid questions, and then I don't really know what went wrong. But also thank you for your kind words at the end there. That's really sweet.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, I remember back when he started making posts about how he left Islam now, and he now really hates Islam and Muslims are terrible and so on. And I thought, I don't know, I thought he didn't say anything that was in any way remarkable or new.
Yeah.
It was all just, little stuff. But the way he thinks of himself, like he discovered something for the first time, reminds me of, I was on his Twitter feed earlier and I saw a response that he made to Yasmin Mohammed. And when I saw that, I thought, this guy is really not getting it, is he? Look at
What
this.
did he say?
I quickly want to show this just to... is that your dog?
Yeah, sorry
How
about
dare you?
that.
How dare you?
I know.
Haram.
Astaghfirullah. Why is it in my house?
Astaghfirullah. So,
okay, just give me 2 seconds. I need to go check why my dog is
okay.
losing his mind.
No problem.
But you keep talking. I'll be back.
How could I possibly keep talking now? So here's something very, very interesting. Now, I don't want to make any speculations about this guy's mind and all that, but I saw this post. Like Yasmin Mohammed is sharing this photo of the Kaaba and saying, pay no attention to the pile of bricks behind the curtain. I think the message here is quite clear. What she's pointing out is that the thing that you're circling around, it is just a building. This is not new information. It is just a building. Think about that. Just look at it and think about the fact that this is just something that humans build. And here, what he gets from this is he says, wow, you got us. You're so intelligent. Hello, Aisha. Are you still listening? Yeah, he says,
yes,
wow.
Hang on. There's someone at my door. I'll be right back. I just realized that's why he was barking. Sorry, keep going.
Go ahead. He says, wow, you got us. You're so intelligent. You're acting as if no one knew this. Did you want to have a moment? You wanted someone to notice you again, huh? You wanted to feel special, like you did something. Not only is he just completely attacking a person for no proper reason. He's also not getting the point at all. He's responding to this and acting as if her intention was to reveal some secret information that nobody knew, which is that the Kaaba is actually just a building of bricks. You're acting as if no one knew this. Did you want to have a moment? I feel like
I'm
this
back.
guy is not really getting what people talk about.
Yes, I was listening. So this is like the point I made earlier, right? That he genuinely thinks he discovers certain things
Yeah.
when people talk about stuff that is so obvious and widely known. And I think it's just a testament to how little he truly knows about the topics he chooses
Yeah,
to talk
yeah.
so much about.
She's just appealing to something that everybody knows, but to just a sense within you of like, hey, look at this and reflect on this a little bit. Under the curtain, it is just a building. It's just bricks made by people. You might have a story to it. You might, revert and so on, but it's just a regular building. That's the clear message that I got from this immediately, and I retweeted it. What he thinks this is you're acting as if no one knew this. Wow, you're so intelligent.
I don't know how something so obvious just flies right over his head like that. I don't understand that.
It's weird. And I mean, it's okay if you don't get things. I understand that, but just don't insult and attack people and act arrogant because of your own shortcomings or your own inability to grasp some, messages. It's just very, very weird, man. Might 5,000 said, Abdullah Samir said it best, but it seems like Muslims are always more receptive to external validation. So imagine how angry they were when he left. Yeah, and I also made a video before in which I talked about how Muslims look up to white people, which I mean it. It is there is a lot to it. There are a lot of layers to it. There is an inferiority complex, there is a hostility, there is a cultural impact of Western culture, and so on. So when somebody like Paul converts to Islam without any proper reasons, that is enough to them. He is a hero. Yeah. Yervan said, this is actually scary. Oh yeah, there was a comment about his mental state and all that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is a little bit disturbing and off-putting and scary.
You actually have training in mental health, right?
Yep, that's why I say that.
Yeah. Kia the Great said, this boy really got the hikmah flowing. Yes, absolutely. Benjamin Oda said, if Islam was true, they'd welcome his doubts instead. Yeah, Islam is very sensitive to doubts. They are scared of questions, of their own questions. That's what I say. It's not just the questions of others. It's when somebody in your own rank starts to ask questions that is scary. It's bad for Muslims, and they react accordingly. Yeah. Jump in and tell me that I'm wrong, Aisha.
I will. If I ever feel that way, I promise you I will let you know.
Maybe you should just jump in and tell me I'm wrong, even if you don't feel that way.
Okay, you're wrong. I just demolished you.
You have to say it loudly. It's in capital letters. Demolished. Arabian Princess, thank you so much, Arabian Princess, said, hey AP, when will you accept the Messiah as your Lord and Savior? All the best to you and your family. When is a good question. I don't think I will. But when is therefore also not the right question. I don't think it will happen. So, but I can go through this in a separate discussion. I've gone through this with different people already. I don't believe in it, but thank you for your efforts and thank you for being here. D. Boydreau said, I challenge you, block.
Yeah. Well, that's it in a nutshell, isn't it? That's essentially what he does. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it is. Jacob Carter said, I think he makes a shaky argument so Muslims can see he demolished your video and feel better about their faith, not having to worry about the falseness of their prophet. Yeah. But I get it, and you can say, oh, look, I destroyed you. Okay, we're now done here. But to then go on and to brag about, hey, I've completely refuted the guy. There's no coming back from this. It's just, it's just terrible. Yeah. A Low Earth Surfer said, Infidel Noodle, any news on the Al-Dawa debate?
No, that was a long time ago. And I don't think he's going to revisit that issue after I made a video clearly demonstrating that I went out of my way to give him the opportunity, and all he could give me was excuses. So unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But you can watch a very interesting discussion between Ali Dawah and Apostate Prophet featuring various fruit, I believe.
Grapes and bananas.
Because that's how you demolish someone's intellectual criticisms, in case no one knew that.
Yeah, that was really the highlight of last year, I have to say. So I want to give Al-Dawa some flattery and some credit here. He really made my. Wait, was it this year? That was this year. Okay,
I think it was this year, wasn't it?
It was this year. Yeah, I feel like a lot of time passed. That was just a few months ago. But yeah, we had a discussion where he, where I said, so can you present some proof for this? Can you present evidence? Can you bring some research papers? And he's like, where are my bananas?
I couldn't watch it. It was too cringeworthy. I cannot sit through anything presented by that guy. No, I cannot do it.
Yeah. I'm kind of sad. I wanted to have a debate with the guy, but he threw it and blew it and made a terrible clown of himself, unfortunately.
That sounds like Ali Dawah.
Yep. That sounds like Dawa. John said, hey, AP and Infidel Noodle, I always wonder what would you do if your children chose Islam and see Ali Dawa as an idol? What would you do, Aisha?
I wouldn't disown them, first of all, or try to make them feel bad about their choices and decisions in life. I would be more than happy to discuss their reasons behind their choice and flesh that out with them a little bit, and just continue an ongoing discourse about that and maintain a loving, healthy relationship regardless of where their beliefs take them.
Absolutely. I agree very much with that. I think if it ever happened, and I don't think it would happen, but I don't want to, I don't want to make predictions, although I'm a prophet. But still, if it did happen, I guess I would talk, and I would still say, hey, it's okay. You do what you think is best, and you'll figure this out, and be supportive, I think. Of course, right afterward, I would say, no, leave this house. You don't live here anymore. You don't know me. Just kidding. Yeah. Sailman said, religion is just a set of ideas. Yeah. Everything is just a set of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I am just a set of ideas too. Houston Matthews said, this might be slightly off topic, but I would like to advise you to read the following book. I would like to advise you to read the following book, Bohemian Emancipation, Albert Wilhelm Feinberg. I think that you might like it. I think Aisha already read it because she has read every book out there, because she's a very well-read, informed person.
That's an interesting assumption to make. I won't disagree or call you out for being wrong this time.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wish I had more information about what the topic actually is about.
Yeah,
except that it's about
tell us
Bohemian
more.
Emancipation. Yeah, I just
It's a cool
Googled it.
title.
Yeah, I just Googled it. I'm using Google. Look, he's using Google. But thank you for the advice. I will look into that. Yervans from Czech said, I didn't really get the point with white people. You mean that when a young, let's say, a famous American actress converts to Islam, then she is automatically celebrated?
Yeah.
Yes.
So when this Paul guy left Islam, there was actually a Muslim TikToker that came forward and was quite frustrated and said, can we please stop putting white converts up on a pedestal? This is embarrassing. This is bad for our community. And I think he made a pretty good point. They probably should stop doing that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And again, I explained this in a separate video and in different discussions. I mean, I was part of the community. Infidel Noodle was Muslim, and there really is there is some there is this weird sentiment. There is this hate and prejudice toward Western people, and this disgust, like they are those immoral, terrible, people. But at the same time, there's also this huge admiration and this inferiority feeling, probably as a result of developments in the last century. So when somebody is remotely sympathetic in the West toward Islam, that's a huge deal for many Muslims. And if somebody ends up converting to Islam, that is amazing to them, which is why you will see that so many people, for example, convert from Islam to Christianity and nobody cares. And when somebody converts from Christianity to Islam, then it's like a celebration. It's like a global achievement and all that. Scarlett Layton said, I miss shaky booty. Believe me, I do too. Finally, Saint Brush said, first off, aren't you like 30? Why don't you refer to my website where I reviewed this?
Shut up. Go to my website.
That's good. That's very good. Very, very nice. Mohammed said, you poor people, AP and Infidel Noodle, even you can't afford grapes like Alitawa. Lane Newsom said, as Jewish person, I feel Jesus is important. Excuse me, I will not tolerate Christophobia here on this platform. He should make Shaky Booty available for debates. I should, right? I want to have a debate with Shaky Booty
Yeah.
myself.
Great idea.
Fantastic idea. So what's anything else that you want to say and add that you want to share with us, with the world?
I know that Paul is still watching this, so I want to sign off by saying, I know that we kind of laughed a little bit in this video and we teased you a little bit, Paul, but at the end of the day, I don't hold vitriol towards you. If you 5, 10, 30 days from now or years from now came forth and decided that you wanted to re-engage, take accountability and apologize, you know that I would not turn you away or try to use that against you in any sense. I think both AP and I are pretty reasonable people and we're always open to discussion. So if you change your mind, we're here to listen. And I guess you just have to meet us halfway if you ever decide to make that leap.
Very well said. Very well said. Princess Mona said, great conversation. Yeah, no, I agree entirely. Mike Hawk said the sun is a social construct. I can't get enough of these comments right now. So, yeah, no, Paul, seriously, I have said before, and I say it now, some people might think this is a little bit extreme sometimes, but I stand with that. I don't hate anybody. I don't hate any individual, even those people who are seemingly terrible and who have said some horrible stuff about me and others. I think that people think they're doing the right thing in their own minds. They are acting in terrible ways because they think that's what they're supposed to do for their own beliefs, for their community, for what they think is right, for their gods and their religion, whatever it is, or for their prophets. I think that Paul also thinks that he's doing the right thing right now with his behavior, no matter what his motives are. So even if you engage in some terrible attitude, call me names, as we have just seen in that video, and all that, I will not return that stuff to you, and I will not hate you for that. My door is always open. I hope you get better, and yeah, I'm always here. And that goes out to everybody. And if you think that I'm a horrible person and I'm a horrible liar and all that, come here, let's talk. Or let's have a debate. Let's have a conversation on a third-party platform. It won't hurt anybody. I'm always up for it. Why don't you guys try to engage? All right. And that's it. Now we have to rate who gave the better final speech. All right. Anything else?
No, that's it from me. But thank you so much for having me. It's always really great to do these streams. The banter is always a good time. So thank you. Loving the comments. Your commenters are very creative in what they come up with. So I've really enjoyed this. Thank you to everyone who watched, and thank you, AP, for having me.
Yeah, and thank you to my beard, who also converted to Islam apparently. So yeah, no, thanks, thank you, Aisha, for joining. It's always a pleasure, and I hope we can do more and more stuff again in the future. And everybody, please follow Infidel Noodle, subscribe to her channel, linked right down in the description. She makes good content, has very good things to say, very intelligent stuff, very good insights. She paid me to say all of this. Just kidding, she didn't. And yeah, hope to see you again, Aisha, and to see everybody else. Thanks, everyone. Have a fantastic day. And as always, stay away from Islam. Oh no, I forgot. I always forget. I want to add this little clip of Sajid Libim saying that for me to the end of these streams. But anyway, stay away from Islam, everybody.